So you guys, I'm so excited. This is Toni Van Schoik. And also you will see my husband pop on these things too for effing simple chat. You will be able to find us on Buzzsprout, Apple, Spotify, and also on our training platforms on YouTube and Rumble /EFFINGSIMPLE. But you guys, I am super excited to bring to you this powerhouse, dynamic woman. I actually met her through Clubhouse, and I was trolling on Clubhouse, and the title really interested me, and it was called the We Empowerment group and room. And so I clicked on there, and I heard Sherist Rodriguez, who's our special guest today, talk about she's my spirit animal. That's all I have to say. And so this is a new formed relationship and friendship that I am starting to build with this woman. So anyways, we were on a Zoom together just last week, and what she was saying was rocking me to my core. I'm like, her story needs to be told. She needs to be heard. And I just love where she's been and how she has risen up into this incredible entrepreneur. So Sherist, I want to welcome you to our program. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm super honored to be here.
So Sherist, we were on this Zoom that we were on for about an hour and a half, and what you had said just resonated to my core. You have a really interesting and very dynamic life, and especially your childhood. And so you were telling us this wonderful story, but I want you to really hone in on the story of why what led you to you being an entrepreneur, but it was very specific when you were a child. So can you tell us a little bit about your background? But I want you to also hit on the food stamp story.
Yeah, for a lot of years, I kept a lot of that very secretive because as everybody is really, there's a craze on this imposter syndrome thing. Well, I was the girl that was trying to be the imposter, not try to not be the imposter. So talking about and telling people what my childhood was a no-no to me because I had to pretend to be something else. And so I did grow up in poverty, in a household of domestic violence, abuse, drug abuse, a lot of traumatic events going on as I was a child, but also with that many times comes, the lack of your parents being able to keep jobs and poverty and, moving around so much and having to live in families' houses because you can't support yourself or the family can't support themselves. But one of my memories of, I grew up on food stamps, as you were saying. We grew up, the one thing that I remember the most, and I don't have a lot of childhood memories, but the one thing that devastated me so much is having to go in those long lines of with homeless people that were in those lines waiting to get cheese and bread and all that. And I just remember being so embarrassed. And the one thing I didn't get time to say in that call is I was so embarrassed because I saw some kids from school walking by, not going to the line, but walking by. And I was so ashamed. I was so embarrassed. And that was part of, I think some of the spark early on to say, I never want to do this. I never want to have to stand in this line. I will, I have to break that cycle because it was just so devastating to me.
Well, okay. So that's just one story. Okay. But I want you to talk about, through your path, because you have not had an easy life. Right. By far. And you are one of the most inspiring women that I have met recently that has created this amazing business. You're an entrepreneur. You've got multiple streams of income, you're able to serve and help other people through your business. Tell me the story. And, even though that was part of it, tell us what it took for you to get to where you are today, and some of the hardships that you had to go through to get where you are as an entrepreneur.
Whew, that is a loaded question. A lot of mistakes, and I know we'll go over a bunch of those, but to be honest, I think at the core of it, it was having faith, right? And some belief. Like my family used to call me crazy. I mean, they really thought that I was crazy and I wasn't well, because I had these visions. I would think about how life didn't have to be that difficult. I really, really kept telling myself, I'm not going to be like my parents. I'm going to do everything in this world to be different. I just felt with something deeper in me that it didn't have to be that hard. And every time life faced me, and now I go back and I look at how resilience has really been a core part of me that allows me to, yes, I can fall down, I can lose. I mean, my business, I've gone to where I was doing really well, and then I lost everything, and then I did well again and lost everything again. And so a lot of that, by the way, I don't have a high school education. I didn't go to college. Other things that a lot of people don't know, but I just had this deep rooted passion in me to not do that. And the bigger part came when I got pregnant. I'm a teen mom. I was a teen mom, got pregnant at 18 after being homeless and a bunch of other stuff happening. And I just vowed that I could not bring my kids up in that way, that I was going to do everything possible. And I really had to change my life at that point. There was a moment, and I do credit my kid. I credit my oldest son, both of my kids, for saving my life, because at that time in my life, I was, I had been a drug addict, I had been homeless, all before the age of 18, had been sexually abused, like just crazy stuff, right? All these things were happening. But the minute I knew that I was going to bring another life into this world, I just knew I had to, like, how could I was going to be headed on repeating those same patterns. I was already repeating the patterns, right? So it's just that moment where, and actually, if you have time, I was sitting on a park bench. One morning I woke up, and this is right before I got pregnant, and I was homeless on a park bench, and there was a bunch of soccer kids, these little kids, and they were looking at me thinking I was dead. And the looks on their faces, and I thought, here I told myself my whole life that I wasn't going to be that person. And here I am scaring the crap out of these children. Like, what am I doing? What the heck is happening here? And that was one of the things that opened my mind to, like, change my life, because I was supposed to impact the world. I was supposed to change people. I was supposed to help people. And there I was hurting them by that. So that's part of it.
Well, I definitely think that was an angel or a God nudge when you were on that park bench that day. And so that day you decided, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you decided, so bring us up to speed. You're a teen mom, you have 2 children, you're raising them as a single mother. And, then when did you know that you had to, when you had to be that entrepreneur?
Okay. So part of it comes from a journey that started being put in, after I had my kid, I placed myself in environments where there were professionals. So I built up this persona, and I went to work for attorneys. There's a whole history, there's another story behind that, but I placed myself around professionals. And even though I would, I got to be in the offices with them, I still felt so disconnected, but I had to learn. I mean, I remember the first time going to one of those dinners where the forks and knives are placed, and I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. What is this? Why do they need more than one fork here? So
basically you
have a fork.
So basically you pretty womaned it.
Oh boy. But I was smart. And so I made sure I was the one person in the room, every office I went to, that most women despised and didn't like, because one, I was going to do everything and anything that anyone gave me. I was going to do everything faster so that I could learn more, because I felt like my time was not limited, but I felt like opportunities knocking, opportunity wasn't always there for me growing up. So it's like, okay, if I don't have this opportunity very long, I'm going to have to prove myself. I'm going to have to work my way. They're going to find out that I didn't go to high school. They're going to find out I didn't go to college because I lied about all that stuff early on. So that was my drive at first, right, to get to these levels. So early on, by the age of 20 years old, I was already running a law firm. I had in 2 years gone through. I started a law firm from scratch and really managed it. And I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing, but I never said no. right? So that's what started my entrepreneur journey, because what happened is later on, I started realizing all the people I was making money for, all the people that I was stressing out, that my inflammation, my anxiety, my sleepless nights, I was doing all this stuff for other people. And they were enjoying vacations and buying yachts and doing all this stuff. And I'm still a poor single mother on a very low salary. So that's the stuff. Then because of that, and because of me wanting more, I started doing like side hustles. I started doing little catering on the side. I started selling things at festivals and making things, and just all like every opportunity I could find. That was what my weekends or evenings were. Even with 2 kids by myself, I drugged them with me. They cooked with me. They made things with me. And so it was those moments. And then opportunity knocked at one point, and I was offered something to learn. And if I learned it, they'd give me the business to do. And of course I was like, I'll take it, and that opened up this more confidence and like, oh, I could do this. So I did that and I worked. And then I lowered my hours down until I finally took that leap. And when I took the leap, I got to tell you, everybody thought I was crazy. What do you mean you're going to open your own business? You don't know anything about starting a business. You've got security here. You've got a paycheck. You have insurance. Like, you're not going to have all that. You have 2 young boys. Are you insane? Like, everything and anything I could hear. And I just, that was one of the times I just didn't let anybody get in my head. And I just stayed so focused and did it. And I took the leap. And has it been easy? Absolutely no. I didn't have the emotional intelligence. That had to get built, the financial intelligence, all this kind of intelligent stuff. But I had resilience. And so no matter what happened, yes, I've been knocked down. I've had a nervous breakdown. I've had some tremendous things happen, even recently, but I always get up. And that's the one thing that has helped me through a lot of it.
So, you know what? You are like so many other entrepreneurs. And I just talked to a wonderful lady right before we did, is that I think for especially people like us and women, where, we have hunger and we have a drive. And so that also fuels us to do things better than what we were presented or handed. You actually are a very rare exception to the rule, because if I remember the statistics correctly, is that 96% of people that have been handed your circumstances never get out.
Exactly.
So you're one of less than 5% of people that have been through that. You're an exception. Wow. You're an exceptional human being. So, and Les Brown calls it, you got to be hungry, right? You've got to be hungry.
Yes.
And so that's a huge part of it. So you've told us a little bit about the past and how you got to where you are right now. So you're doing some awesome things. First of all, tell us a little bit about the businesses that you have right now, where they're bringing in multiple streams of income. And I love what you do, by the way.
So right now, I've been in operations and outsourcing for many years. And so I changed my model recently to staff like virtual assistants for entrepreneurs. And I'm still doing, so one stream is the actual virtual assistants that they hire to work with them. And then I coach entrepreneurs on how to delegate and how to go to that and kind of act like a consultant coach in terms of helping them get all that stuff together and then making it happen for them. And so that's a lot of fun. I just switched over to just working with women, because most of my career, it was always with men, attorneys and doctors, big men-driven areas. And I am absolutely loving it. And one of the passion things that I've been wanting to do and have done in little baby steps in different parts of my life is empowering women and really bringing women together. And I grew up in an environment where many women have too, where, it's fight or die for yourself, right? It's competition. You don't work together with women. They're going to backstab you. And I've been backstabbed, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, I really want to change that and really show that if we do work together, we are better together. Like, the reason we are, we're not running this world is because we're so darn divided. And if we work together, we can get so much further. But even more so, is really one of the things that I'm building what I didn't have and I wish I had. You know, collaboration, being able to have community, you know, women, other women together, working together, co-working, mentorship, coaching. And aside from that, with my nonprofit, being able to then use what I do with the for-profit, because I do consider myself a social entrepreneur, and everything we're doing with a bigger purpose and mission to bring up people in poverty like myself. Because I consider myself, like you said, super lucky. My siblings repeated the cycles. I'm the only one. My cousin, my aunt, everyone in my family. And so I'm the odd one. I'm the one that they didn't like. I'm the show off before. Things have changed. The dynamics have changed with time. But I know how hard it is. So many people judge people for not coming out of those situations. But when the cards aren't on the table for you and everything, and you're, you know, up against the wall and there's nobody there cheering for you and everybody is telling you what a loser you are, it's super hard to step out. So it was an angel, it was God, everything about it. But because he gifted me with that, it's my duty now. I have to go forward and do something with that.
I am just sitting here with angel bumps. You said that, and I was just like, you know, and you know, this has been a topic on a lot of strong female entrepreneurs that I, you know, speak with, that I, you know, want to spend time with, is that we need more of that female goddess energy, because as women, I definitely think that we lead with soul and love first. And so that is transforming the energy around us. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because you do radiate that. And I don't know if you know how much you actually radiate that wonderful sense. Like every time I hear you speak, it's like I get a warm, big hug. Okay. So Sherist, I know that you have big goals and dreams. And I always ask my guests that are on the show, what's your bag goal? What is your big, hairy, audacious goal? It's probably more of a long-term goal. Maybe, you know, you're all in and you've got a timeline on it, but what is Sherist's big, hairy goal?
My goal is to inspire young girls, children, children and women to overcome these darn traumas, our childhood trauma, to really give them the tools, the guidance. I need to be out there speaking. I need to be out there. I have a trauma-informed course that I want in everyone's hands, because if we can understand where our blocks are from. And so I just, you know, I see what do you call it? A country of women bound together, all of us just, you know, elevated and working together to just continue to improve the world we live in. So it's big, I know, but I know.
Yeah, but yeah, I was just going to say, but it just starts with one person, right? It just starts with one person. And that's like when we launched, you know, our main business, which is our main thing 7 years ago, it just started with one person and that was it. But then what happens is that because you are living in your truth, I believe that you were put on here, and every individual person was put here on this earth for one reason, and they have a special gift. And that gift is what you need to go out and share with the world. And so that's why, because, you know, the universe or God or the energy or whatever you want to call it says, this is your gift. This is what you need to go out and share. And you're coming from a place of service. And that is truly what makes successful entrepreneurs hum. It's what makes us go forward, because I could never imagine keeping all of this knowledge within here, right? We want to go out and share it with the world. So thank you so much for sharing that. So second to the last thing, what is for people that want to start their own business? Give me 3 top tips that are non-negotiable when you're starting your own business.
You know, you got to step in. And I know it's probably so cliche that everybody says, but you know, you have to believe in yourself. You absolutely, with all certainty, need to get grounded, do whatever it is you have to do, affirmations, mantras, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're going to do it, you need to do it. Don't be afraid. Don't let fear get in the way, because fear is honestly the thing that has stopped me from doing anything I've ever not done, right? And that is just fear. Get out of your way. Stay focused. So many people are so scattered, and including me, right? The shiny object. Everything is so fun. You have an entrepreneur mind and you're going to be everywhere wanting to do everything. Get really clear and focused. Come from a purpose mindset. What is your purpose? What are you trying to, what really are you trying to do here? What's the ultimate outcome? And just don't listen to the chatter. Like, connect with your intuition, connect with God, connect to whatever it is. Like, honestly, the times I just let myself be guided that way, I don't fail. It's when I get in my own head, I get in my way, I let self-doubt and fear get in, then I'm, flat on my face again.
But isn't that true? I mean, doing what we do, even as parents, even in a long-term relationship, in business, is that we're always going to fall flat on our face. Always. The difference is that you get back up and do it again.
Right.
And that you have, I mean, you would be a subject matter expert in that. I truly believe. So also too, for our listeners and our viewers, what is a one non-negotiable book that you have to have in your arsenal for personal or professional development?
Ooh, actually, I'm going to say it's actually different. And I have it here, so I got to show you. It's not even personal. I am truly about heal your body. Oh. This one goes with me everywhere because I know that everything is related to that stuff. So as soon as I could see, like, okay, what's stopping me? My lower back fear of this, lack of this. So this thing travels everywhere. It's probably not what you expected, but I'm super into mind-body connection. And this is important.
But you know what? It's so great because that's not often the response that we get. And I love Louise Hay. Yes. I listen to her stuff all the time. And she's got a great, channel and podcast on Spotify where, even though Wayne Dyer has since passed, she has all sorts of wonderful people on there. But it was so great that you talked about that because it's true. The mind feeds the body. So I completely loved that you shared that with us. Okay. So Sherist, in closing, the one thing is that when you're faced with challenges, what's kind of like your template? How do you work to get through it, to get to the other side?
Yeah. First, is the breathing. So I've come to really understand that when we breathe the right ways, and there's many different ways to breathe, but just even if you don't know how to breathe, just do anything. Breathe inside the nose like a breath of fire. That's an example. But the breathing so that it can calm your nervous system, because that nervous system, it sometimes can be beyond our control. So I'll sit there and I'll make myself belly breathe. And then I just get quiet and I really ask for guidance. I pray. And I know it sounds crazy and I wasn't always like this, but I ask for guidance, but then I start to vision, what is it I need to do? What's the outcome? What's like beyond that, whatever's happening right now? What do I make myself look into stepping into where I need to be and stepping out of myself and looking at the situation from the outside. And then how do I just step over it, right? And so those are the ways that I do it. And exercise. If I'm also getting clogged up, I go plug in and I go weight train and I just zone out. And so then I come out and I'm fully inspired and ready to go.
I love that. And then, you know what, there's one last thing that I do want to cover because it's so important. And, we have so many social media and distractions and things to play with. One of my places of value that I have found, because I truly love the connection platform on it, and you, my dear, are a master, is Clubhouse. Mm-hmm. And, you have, wonderful rooms that you run weekly. I know that it's helped you build relationships, but can you, because you are light years ahead of me on that platform, but can you talk a little bit about, the fundamental things that Clubhouse can do for building personal and professional relationships and why you should be on it?
Absolutely. I wish I had gone on sooner because there's so much value in it. But one thing is, when you do go on again with purpose. What are you wanting to accomplish? And if you don't know what it is, because you can also get caught up in so many of these drama rooms and stuff like that, and these rooms, these topics that don't matter. So if there's something you're really working on, let's say one of the rooms at the beginning, I was going through a stage where I didn't realize my confidence was down, but obviously it was at that time. And so I was drawn to a room that was confidence and courageous or something like that. And so I went in there and I started listening to all these women that were talking about how they've overcome these things and how, talking about courage and how to build confidence. And I started to think about and emulate the things they were doing. And so that's one way. If you're going personal development, look for the things that you think you need to work on. Put yourself in environments of people, but look at also who's following them. So I'm really careful when I go into rooms. I look at the leaders and I see what kind of people they're surrounded with, because I don't want to get fed more stuff. And then the other thing is, for speaking, for becoming comfortable with things as an entrepreneur, it's one thing to be good at just one thing you do as an entrepreneur, but you've got so many different skills and different things to build. Go into those other rooms, provide value, get up on stage, talk about your journey, be authentic, be raw, because it's the one place I was able to do that there. I was able to start to talk about my story and my childhood because I felt like I didn't have to have my face there. And so it was easier to come out and talk about it in just that audio setting because I'm very facial expressions, right? So that has been key. And start your rooms. Go in and find 3 or 4 people that you connect with. Don't go start a room on your own. Honestly, it could be disappointing and all this stuff. Find a couple people that'll start a room with you, sit in there and chat with them and build up that confidence. But I'm going to tell you, when I relaunched my the We Staff virtual services early this year. And when I went on Clubhouse and just started giving away, I was literally giving away the steps for people to go hire their own VAs, not to come with me, go hire your own. This is what I do. I literally taught everything. And that's what got people to connect with me. That's what got people to follow and want to be a part of that. So go there and just give value. Every one of you has some kind of value, even if you don't think you do. Every single one of you who are listening to this has something to give, and you're miles ahead of someone else. So just speak, just share your voice.
I love that. So Sherist, we're going to wrap this up because we're at our time limit. I could keep you on here though for probably another hour or so because one, you have a great speaking voice and I love listening to you and you're just so passionate. So Sherist, where can they find you at?
So you can find me at weempowerenterprises.com. You could also join the club for women entrepreneurs at weempower.club. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram. My name is very easy, Sherist. There's no one else out there. So you can find my name very easy. And so I'm on all that social platforms and obviously on Clubhouse too. You'll find me there a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. So Sherist, thank you. Thank you so much for your time and your wonderful words of wisdom. I so appreciate it. You guys, this is Toni Van Schoik, effing simple chat. You can find us on our platforms, both through Rumble, YouTube /EFFINGSIMPLE, and of course our podcast, which is on Apple, Spotify, and Buzzsprout. All right, you guys, this is Toni. This is show number 4. Very honored to have this lovely, successful lady here. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.